We're back here on the social roundup with Salah and.
Andrea.
So, Andrea, what are we talking about right now?
We've been talking about quite a few things that I think that I never talked about that before. It was really interesting, and I would like to hear what people thought about that by telling us on our social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and apparently we have Twitch. So let's
Yeah,
just tell us like that. I'd love
exactly.
to
So,
download the app.
the thing is, like, that is how accessible Relax Radio is. We're here with you. We're trying to be with you through whatever social media that you are using, and you can talk to us, you can engage with us, you can comment, and you can tell us how you are feeling about these topics that we are discussing here as well. So, Andrea, today we're going to be talking about something really interesting, which is online schooling. Like,
Yeah.
are you a student? Are you still studying, or
I just finished college like 2 weeks ago, so I'm free right now. And you?
Okay. I actually just finished schooling, so I still haven't like started college or university. I'm just thinking about, figuring things out in my head, right? But I have to say, like, I had to do my finals, like most of my classes, most of, revision, everything that I had to do is online, which is really frustrating for me. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about. Like, how online schooling can really take this toll on your mental health as well, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is also about how there are different age groups that have to use this. It's not just kids, it's not just our parents, it's not just teachers, right? It's also people like old people, and the frustration of being at home, right? Do your parents also ask you, like, how do you use these apps, or is it just my parents?
I think that is everyone, parents, and more in like not that developing countries because I
Yeah.
think that my mom is like when I'm doing my class or in my online, she's like, okay, I'm not gonna talk, I'm not gonna talk, don't read or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think that everyone has different experience because having class and being at home is completely different than staying all the time at class.
Exactly, exactly. And I think, like, when you're stuck at home, you have all these things that are happening. And sometimes, you're on your bed and you have this mentality because you are on your bed, the bed is made for you to sleep in, right? So you're always sleepy, like in the middle of class, also, you're like feeling sleepy and you're like, no, I'm not in the mood, And it kind of is frustrating, but that's what it is, unfortunately. But tell us about your experience with college. Like, did you have to do it online as well?
Yeah, I've been doing online like since last year. So it was like a bit dramatic for me because I didn't know how to react to that. The first time that I was doing another course, so it was like fine. But
Yeah.
this year I was doing a completely different course that it's media, and I need to be in class because we use Apple
Yeah.
computers. So I don't have an Apple computer at home, so that was quite difficult because also I don't have the apps that we use there.
Okay.
So for
Yeah.
me, it was a bit frustrating.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah. Like, even for me, the reason I haven't like started uni or like college is also because I want to do acting, and acting is not something you can do
Oh,
online. Yeah, and like with acting, you need to be present with your class. You need to be in the moment, working on it, and having doing it online. Like, I don't even know how to do it online. Like, sometimes I know that ultimately screen acting, you need to be able to interact with the camera and whatnot, but especially with online, it's like your laptop, right? Laptop camera, there's no one around you, there's no cast, there is absolutely no one. And have you watched, there was a recent show actually on Netflix. I don't remember the movie's name, of Bobenham. Have you heard of Bobenham? He's from Vine, I think. No.
no, I
So
didn't.
I'm also not really familiar with him. One of my friends introduced, like, this whole thing about, how on Vine he was really famous, right? And he basically did this movie all by himself. I kid you not, right? From like directing to editing to acting to music to
Uh,
everything. Yeah. And like when I watched it, I was like, I kind of feel useless because this is he is not only doing, like, my passion is acting, right? Not only acting, but also like directing it, lighting, editing, everything by himself, right? And I'm like, okay, so I kind of feel useless right now. I think I need to start doing something with my life.
oh my god, I
But
completely understand you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't you think like seeing people on social media like really be active and do things is frustrating for us because we feel like we're not enough, especially during quarantine, you know?
Yeah, because I thought like I was trying to be active because of my mom. She was telling me, okay, you are gonna do course online about in universities, and what I was like, I have no idea at all. But I did accounting, I did journalism, and I tried to be a bit of acting, something like that, because I was trying to do
Ooh.
something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's completely different to do that in that place that at home, because at home I feel like I always hungry. So in
Yeah.
at home I'm just eating. I'm not paying that attention that needs to have.
That is true. That is very true. I think, like, that motivation, that sense of being in a class, being a student, is not there when you're doing it online. Actually, like, what was your experience like learning acting online? Like, were you able
Mm.
to?
I just did that by Zoom, so it was like
Oh.
different doing, because I also did it like in a theater, but it was
Mhm.
different. So I feel like quite rare because I just have to act in front of my laptop camera, and I never did that. So I always like acting in front of people, which is different because you feel that vibes, a bit nervous, but doing in front of your camera is a bit different.
Exactly. Like, doesn't it make you feel awkward? You're like, stop
Yeah,
watching me.
like
Like, I don't want to be here.
yeah, like all Microsoft is watching me. No, 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 no.
Exactly. It's like, some spy somewhere around the world is probably watching you right now, just trying to figure out, like, you're trying to figure out, does this angle work for me? Do I look pretty? Like, is it working?
Yeah, yeah,
While you're
yeah,
feeling yourself, someone's watching you, right?
I
And
completely
it's like,
understand.
it makes it really uncomfortable. Exactly why I don't want to learn acting online. So it's like, I think like taking a gap year at this time would be really good for students. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that, but also I think that was a bit beneficial for some people, because for me, like going to college is like an hour. So
Okay.
I was able to stay at home and sleep like 1 hour more and don't spend that money on buses, on train. So I think that we also
Yeah.
need to look at the positive side, as we always say in Relax Radio.
Mhm.
And just take your time. Like I think that everyone needs that time, because I think that the world was like messed up, and with us be staying at home also help us to realize things and find new hobbies as well.
Exactly, Andrea. Like you mentioned, like at Relax Radio, what we're trying to make you feel is relaxed, right? And if what you need to be doing is to take a gap year and just treat yourself to a little bit something different, something that you're not used to, something that you want to experiment with, because I mean the world is running at full speed and you can't catch up to that speed, right? But best you can do is give yourself some time to get used to that and accepting that and moving forward from there as well. So, Andrea, like the other thing that I wanted to ask you also is about, what do you think about mental health during lockdown? Like,
Oh, I think that everyone has a change on that, because I think that staying at home like make you a bit frustrated or a bit excited, because I
yeah,
think that so many people struggle with bullying and all that stuff, that it's pretty bad. So being
yeah,
staying at home, I think help, as some people help to realize that they don't need to be treated in that way. I think that
true.
yeah.
That is very true. I think, like, different people have different experiences with mental health, but I think, like, students in general having online schooling, whether it's with college, whether it's with, school, whatever it may be, it's very different and it must be really hard. Like, I've always thought about kindergarten kids, right? Like, how do they do it online?
I
Like, I've
know.
seen, yeah, I had like a cousin, right? So she's like, really small, and I've seen her do online schooling, and half the time she's like distracted, right? And I can hear like teacher trying. Teacher's like, kids, let's sit down, let's take our books and write. And like you have all
Oh,
these kids like super like energized, not listening to her, like on their own terms, like falling asleep, eating, screaming at the mother.
gosh.
And I feel like really sorry for like teachers who have to teach very small kids, right?
Yeah, I completely
Yeah.
fine. And I think that the other point is like for people that work, because my mom's friends work in a big company, and
Uh-huh.
they just have to work in like three computers at the same time. So being at home and just
Oh
having
my
one,
god.
changing that, I have all of that in one computer. I think that she was like really frustrated that
Yeah.
her timetables, her schedule was all changed at all. So I think that it was. like really different experience for everyone.
Exactly. Like, I think, again, like there are people that, really can't afford to do that as well. Around the world, having one device. Some of them don't even have electronic devices. Like, how do they
Yeah.
shift to that lifestyle? Like, the fact that, people haven't been considerate of those things, people haven't thought about the different difficulties that people around the world are going to be experiencing with lockdown is really frustrating. The government's neglecting people's needs, right? You have, like, people just putting lockdown, implementing lockdown around the world.
Yeah.
And what do you think, Andrea, governments could have done better for people?
Here in the UK, the government asking the schools and the colleges and universities if they have a laptop. If not, they can bring one. So I
Yeah.
think that that was really helpful for people.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I know that some people don't have good connection at home. So I think that
Exactly.
also is another thing to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true. Like, that is how governments should be functioning. Governments need to be talking to students, asking them, like, look, do you have what it takes? Do you have what is required to, have online schooling? And the fact that some governments are very, selfish, and they do not really think about their students, they do not think about young kids or the parents or the families, sort of difficulties that they're facing. We've heard so many stories about how different people around the world have been having different experiences with lockdown, and the frustration, how families have starved. And it's really frustrating, to be honest, to think that it's not just the virus, it's other difficulties also that come with the virus, right? But I think, like, overall, Andrea, like, it, like you mentioned, we're very much in control of, we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves during times like that. We need to be, focused on ourselves and giving ourselves that attention, that extra attention to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think you are the inspiration for that.
I don't think so. And as we always say in here in the radio, we would like to help us. Like we have different conversation during the day, different session, and we would like to hear us like telling us your experience and all that stuff by our social media. That is
Exactly.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch right now. And also, why you don't try to look like you can listen in everywhere by our downloading our app that is available on iOS and Android.
Exactly. And we want you to stay tuned while Andrea and I take a small break with you. We'll be back, and we'll be continuing to discuss about online schooling and what students feel like during these times, and how to stay tuned and how to stay in your senses while experiencing these things, right? So let's go to a small break. This is Salah, and
Andrea.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're writing? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, and mainly one because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay.
They're
I mean, yeah,
nice.
that's very important, right? Because
Very
you want
important, yeah.
cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
Back here on the social roundup with Salah and
Andrea.
Andrea. So we were talking about, working from home and online schooling and how frustrating it is for our mental health and how, different people have been struggling with it. I have a question for you. How has it been maintaining friendships, maintaining relationships, whatever it may be, online?
Wow, that's a good point. To be honest, I just made like video calls with some friends, but also I stopped talking with another friends because you don't feel that like after taking a break, I think that so many people realize they are not close with those friends that you thought before.
Yeah, that is so true. I think like that's when you really realized who matters to you and who doesn't matter to you. But at the same time, don't you think that, whatever said and done, sometimes even with your closest friend, like maintaining that friendship online, especially, is like really, really hard, right? It's exhausting, mentally exhausting. Like for me, right? Doing the video calls or audio calls or even texting just makes me really anxious, right? And my friend had to like suffer with that because she's someone who's okay with using the phone, but I'm not someone who's okay with using the phone. So whenever I would talk to her, I would always be like moody. Was that the case for you as well?
Yeah. Wow. To be honest, my best friend lives in Spain, so for me, I can't get used because I changed it
Yeah.
a bit in different countries to live. So I
Mhm.
kind of get used to that, but I think that at some point you lose friends that you didn't expect it.
True.
For me, it wasn't that hard to be honest because I'm not gonna get bored if someone don't talk to me like in a week or in a month because we everyone needs break, and if you want break,
Yeah.
get it. It's fine.
Exactly. But I think like it also comes with the fact that I'm an extrovert and my love language, what we were talking about,
Yeah,
how I told you I have physical touch
yeah.
and not having someone around me, not being able to hug my friend, like
Oh,
really, really, like really upsets me, right? But I think like overall it's something that we all have to get used to because we're becoming global citizens in this world, and everyone needs to sort of adjust to this new system. And to adjust to this new system, you really have to get used to maintaining relationships and friendships online. So Andrea, do you think you have any tips to like, being able to handle that online, especially because you have a friend in Spain? So how is
Yeah.
that?
I think that uh, give time to that person, like not always trying to bothering. I mean that everyone has different ways to talk with people, with their friends. As you're saying, you like to touch them. I think that giving them time to just time. Also try to do video calls because I think that is really really different to text them to do a
True.
video call.
Exactly. Like you're in that moment and you can see their reactions. Like
Yeah.
when you're talking to someone, not being able to see those reactions like really eats up my brain. So I think video calls definitely help much more than texting or audio calls as well. One of my close friends actually, she left to the US recently, and that like really put me in a bad mood because now I don't know how to talk to her, and because I've always been anxious using the phone as well. So I have like really questioned about how people have maintained those friendships and relationships, like romantic relationships. How do you do it online? Like how are you able to maintain
Oh
that
my god.
online?
Yeah, I
It's like,
think that
yeah,
I mean, like, because with lockdown, you wouldn't be able to see each other, and now, like,
yeah,
there some countries are open, but some other are not open. So it's I think that keep a healthy relationship during lockdown, during the pandemic, that you are not able to visit that person, that could be quite hard.
exactly. Like I was just thinking about, how different people around the world have had a lot of experiences with like breakups online. A lot of
Yeah,
people have mentioned how, during lockdown, their relationships have been really tested. They haven't lasted long, and, like things have not worked out for them. Like for me, of course, it was like the other way. Like, with me, I found it really hard to maintain my relationship. But whatever said and done, it made it stronger in the sense that, ooh, because I miss you, like I really want to be with you.
yeah,
So it's like it keeps you waiting. And like I said, unfortunately I'm not the type of person who likes schedules or patterns, or I'm not the type of person who is happy with simple things. I need that
yeah.
energy, I need that extra spice in your life.
Good. I completely
Yeah,
understand. And I think that some people broke up because they lost that hopeness to like meet that person soon. And they just thought about, okay, this is gonna do like 2 years. So I'm not gonna be able to see you in 2 years. So I'm just gonna forget you. And I think that
yeah,
was a good point, not a good point, but a big point to just break up. And also, I saw that other
yeah,
people that say, "Okay, come live with me and let's see how it works," and it ended working bad. Like either with
yeah.
parents, some of them they didn't realize that that wasn't their partner for all their life.
Exactly. Like I think like regardless, different people have had different experiences with their relationships. It's either worked out or didn't work out. But in a nutshell, I think like, with lockdown, it has really tested people's, abilities of maintaining something, right? The commitment. We say, it's very easy for us to say, "Oh, I'm loyal, I'm committed, I will do everything, I'll move mountains for you. I will do everything it takes to be with you." But like, really? Are you sure? Could you stay at home to be with me?
I know.
Exactly. So it's like, it really put that test, right? But I think like overall, technology has also advanced with the needs that people have, met, right? As of now, the fact that, you have to do online dating. There have been apps that have been made, designed, and currently there are things that are, sort of being set up, alternatives to people. Have you seen the little device where basically, apparently, if you were to touch it, if your partner has it, like anywhere around the world, right, if they have it, they'll get a small notification on their device saying, well, this person touched the device. It's like, because some people have physical touch love
Oh,
language. Yeah, and it's like, I was like,
ah,
wow. Exactly. And these little wrists that light up when you think about them or something like that. There are these like really cool devices and really cool things that they are making to adapt to this new situation, right? And Andrea, do you think like technology really is helpful in these situations, and do you think that this actually can replace the real feeling?
oh my god! I think that for everyone, technology changed it a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Like we
Yeah.
can see that even people marry with characters like from anime and all that stuff in different countries. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna accept that. I'm not gonna judge anyone. If you want to marry someone like that, do it, why not? As we always say in Relax Radio, we just want to bring you good vibes. So
Yeah,
if you want to
exactly.
tell us about your experience with the like relationship and online and all schooling or work, you can tell us by our social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, uh, yeah, TikTok and Twitch. Oh,
Which
no, load it up.
we're also trying to catch up with all the trends. I mean, clearly, Relax Radio is doing everything we can, and in the process, we tend to also realize that the world is moving really fast. All these apps, all these technological advancement, and we are also learning to adapt with it. And we want to
Yeah,
be there for you to help you adapt to this situation as well, right, Andrea?
of
And
course.
exactly. So, yeah, I think, Andrea, another thing that we also need to think about is, can this technological advance? Oh God, see, this is what happens, right? You forget to pronounce a word.
Ah,
Technological advancement. Can it replace the real feeling of being with someone?
ooh, that's a good question. So I think that people get used. I think people get used to love things and like
Mhm.
people. I think they get used to love things like your phone. You think that you can live without your phone. I think that that's a bit related with technology because we're trying to replace people or feelings with another things.
Exactly. I think, like, I agree with you. I completely agree with you because, we get so attached to this technology that we forget what it is to be real, right? And that attachment in itself, sometimes, have you realized, is it just me? Is it just me? Or do you also have this experience where basically you've been talking to someone on call, or like, you've been video calling them, and then when you actually meet them, you're like, who are you?
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happens to me.
exactly. It's like so awkward, and you're like, now what do I say? But you've really spoken to them online, they know you
Yes.
in and out, but when you meet them, it's so awkward. What was your experience like with that awkward energy?
Oh my god. I think because we as people we tend to hide our feelings by phone. Like doing that in real life we can't realize that. Like how I gonna feel? I don't know. I think my reaction was like, okay, let's move on. That's it.
Exactly. And then you're just like opening your eyes. Like, I was there just opening my eyes, like, is this real? Am I
You're
like
like,
really here? Are you real? Who are you? Because I don't know you. I know the person on my phone. I don't know the person who's standing in front of me. Like, who are you?
yeah, it's
Which is
completely
like,
different.
yeah, exactly. And I think, like, I feel like, adjusting to that has also been really hard, dealing with that awkward energy. And oh my God, awkward energy with online meetings. Can we talk
Oh,
about that?
oh, that's another thing.
Because, like, you are on a Zoom meeting, and then you have them say something and you're saying something, and you're just like, wait, am I supposed to, like, not talk? Am I supposed to mute myself?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
just mute myself and close like stop the camera. I'm saying my microphone is not working, my camera is not working, so I just can't hear you, and that's it.
Exactly. I mean, like, for me, the problem is that I do like online coaching for kids, right? And as when I do coaching and the kids just switch off their videos and the cameras, sorry, the cameras and the mics, and then I'm just like looking at the camera and I'm like, so I'm talking to my screen. Basically, I'm coaching my screen. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, by the way, my laptop's name is Felicia. So I'm like, Felicia, you get it, girl. You get it. Like, I know the kids ain't getting it, but you're
Oh,
getting it.
oh my God, I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah,
Working
but
with
like,
kids is another thing.
yeah, like I said, working with kids online is just another experience. It's like completely different. At least for me, it's like, I'm doing something that kids want to be doing, like they choose to do it. But with online schooling, like, I have no idea how teachers maintain that energy, get kids to stay in one place for so long. And to be honest, like, do you really think online schooling should have happened?
Oh, I think that some people get used to that because I know that some people study like from this university in another country. So I think
Yeah.
that people that was get used to this before was like a normal thing. But me, as I never did that before, it was completely new, and I feel completely weird doing that because I never had that experience.
Exactly. And I think like we also need to talk about how, what our experiences and what tips we can give people who are hoping to continue online schooling, even though we're not in control. We're not the government. We're not here to be able to, stop that happening. But what we can do is as individuals, because that's a culture that Relax Radio is building here. What we are here to do is to help you out, try out things for you and help you make your life easier and relax, take a chill pill with us. So we'll be back right after a break, and this is Salah and
Andrea.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so with different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth. And then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now Those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good things.
Back here on the social roundup, Andrea, do you want to remind them how they can join in on the conversation with both of us?
Of course, we would like to hear you guys in our different social media platforms, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and also don't forget to download our app because we're also trying to get used to listen different of our shows that we have. We have different amazing topics, and also we talk about law. Like the next guy, he's gonna talk about in the show. He's gonna talk about law and all that stuff. That you can learn a lot about that. I learned about that a lot. Like since I started listening to that a week ago.
Exactly. And Relax Radio is always here for you, and that is exactly what we're going to do right now as well. We're going to help you deal with online school, working from home, whatever it may be. We're going to share our experience with you and give you guys tips on how to deal with it as well. So, Andrea, tell us, because I know out of the two of us, you are the much more in control one. So, how do you wake up at 5 a.m.? What do you do at 5 a.m.?
Oh, because if I don't wake up at 5 a.m., I don't have enough time to do all the things until to come here and do this show.
Oh my god, really? Okay. So, like, how do you have the motivation to wake up at 5 a.m.?
I don't know. I just get excited to do something, so I can't even able
Wow.
to sleep. I say, "Oh my god, I'm gonna do this! I'm gonna do this!" Like I don't know why I'm so excited, but I am so tired at the end of the day.
Yeah, that is really true. Like, but once you are happy and you've done something that makes you happy, being tired is kind of worth it, right? And
Yeah.
like, what was your experience like with online schooling as well? Like, what would you tell students? Like, how do you think they can be dealing with that stress?
Oh, I think that a good point will be doing exercise a bit, like try to do a bit at home. I know that is not the best thing, and sometimes you don't feel comfortable because you never did that before. But I think that
Yeah.
exercise can help you because I think that so many people gain weight during the lockdown. I gain weight as well, and I think the exercise just led me to like realize, okay, you are doing something. Try to make your life normal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, overall, the motivation to study comes from actually doing other things, being in control of other things really helps you be in control of, studying as well. So, what about studying tips, to be honest, Andrea? Like, are you someone who loves to study, or is it something that you do for the sake of doing it?
To be honest, I'm a person that do everything. I did so many things. I went to the army as well, so I don't know.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Tell us about your experience.
In the army, I think I really loved that, but at the same time, I couldn't be able to do that because I was doing drama at the same time. So it was mixed for me.
Wow, Andrea, like skills, girl. You're like taking it. You like have it all. Oh my god, like you are in control of your life. You wake up at 5 a.m. You have experience with drama, and you're also a part of like military training. That's like a lot. Like that's amazing. And I think like for me, staying back at home watching Money Heist while eating condensed milk out of the tin, that was my lifestyle. That is exactly why we're having this conversation, because we want you to know that we have all types of people at Relax Radio. Whatever experience you come with, we're all here with all those same experiences, just different personalities, just here to
Of
have an open
course.
conversation,
And that's
right?
amazing because we have different personalities, as you're saying, and we can interact with you guys. Like, don't feel afraid to tell us your experience with that, either it was good or bad. We always try to give you the positive side of all of that.
Exactly. And that part of that is also, I think I need to share my opinion on what online schooling was like for me as well. I'd say, like, I had my finals, right, in 2020, and I had to sort of, pull my life together and, just sit and study at home, right? And the frustration, I will tell you, to the point where I had like grease coming out of my hair. Like,
Oh
my
my God.
hair was so, my skin, my hair, like, everything was like, this frustration is too much. Like, this is too much stress for you to take on with life, and like it like completely like really bad skin days, bad hair days, and I wouldn't eat properly. I'd sleep at 5 a.m. like I told you, right? And it really took this whole toxic cycle on me, and it was really hard, right? But I think with online schooling, one thing that I learned is that you need to sort of figure out whatever timing works for you, because
Yeah.
I am much more active at night and I do not function during the day. So I would sleep during the day and I would function during the night, which I apparently it's not healthy, because you are supposed to be sleeping at night even though you may be good at working at night. But it just worked that way, and I was able to like get through whatever I want to get through with results. I got the results I was expecting. So in the sense that I managed to get through it by figuring out what works for me, because I think that's another thing that we really need to understand, because online we see people talk about how there are these particular lifestyles, this promoting a lifestyle, they talk about saying this is what's best for you. Have you seen like Instagram? That is such a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, like trying
And
to influence things that you don't want to.
exactly. And I think like we shouldn't be all following one type of thing. We need to have our own thing. Whatever works for you, whatever works for this person and that relationship. Like even with relationships, you know how there's a couple goals, right? Have you seen like people post and be like, this is what relationships should look like? TikTok. TikTok.
Oh
My
my
God.
God.
Everything on TikTok, like with all these videos and all these couple goals, these trends that make you feel like your relationship is not enough, you not appreciating your partner because you feel like that is what the lifestyle is, And what do you think about that, Andrea?
To be honest, I would like to watch the real thing because I know that a relationship not always is in holidays, having good times. I know that there is argues behind all of that.
Exactly. And I think like in relationships you need to start appreciating the little things. When someone holds your hand, the beauty in someone just holding your hand. It's different. Why are we always looking for extravagant roses and parties and traveling across the world? Like
Yeah.
go to your backyard.
Oh my
Get a
God.
pita sheet.
I really like it that you touched that point because you said that you are a person that likes to touch it, like or like
Ah,
you like to touch people. So holding hand, I think that it's really nice. I think
exactly.
because it's another feeling. You feel like secure with someone is taking care of you.
Yeah, that is very true. You feel like someone is there for you constantly. Being able to know that they're within your proximity, within your circle is like really helpful. And it's a simple things like that. You don't have to get extravagant, even with the other love languages, right? Like if you like someone who is gift giver. So my second love language is actually gift giving. Usually you would have like two dominant love languages.
Yeah.
And with gift giving, people always think that you need to get them extravagant gifts, expensive diamond necklaces and like buy them a car, fancy car. But I don't know if it's just me, Andrea, like do you have this too? Because for me, say for example we go to the beach together, like say my partner and I go to the beach, if he collects the sand from the beach, just a cent, not a lot, in a small box, and comes and gives it to me saying, this is our date from the beach, like this is the day we
Oh,
spent at the beach. Like that's what I mean by gift giving.
yeah,
Those are the little things we need to be appreciating, and make it a much more practical relationship to run, right? Rather
yeah.
than doing these extravagant things. What do you think? Is it the same for you?
Yeah, like I think that if I'm really tired, exhausted of I don't know, do some exercise and someone brings me water, I'll be like, "Oh my God, you are the best person," because you are really paying attention to what do I need or like in that moment. So I think that that
Exactly.
means a lot.
Yeah, that is so true. I kind of have a feeling you're gonna do the quiz regardless, and I'm going to guess your love language is acts of service. Let's see how it goes. Because the
Oh my
fact that
God.
you like people doing things for you, maybe your love language is acts of service.
Oh, you need to
Because
send me the link. I want to do
I
that.
will definitely send you the link. And it's basically called the love language. If you guys have heard of it, if everyone who's listening in, if you've heard of it, if you've done the quiz, tell us what your love language is. Let's discuss it right here. And we'll also comment with us and, comment on our Facebook, YouTube, join us on Twitch, whatever it may be. Just engage in this conversation with Andrea and me, and let's see where we go with, learning to appreciate the little things in relationships as well. Right. And Andrea, so tell us, like, what do you think about this whole online culture about, promoting a trend when it comes to relationships and friendships?
I think that I don't like, to be honest, trends like either in fashion, in people, in some styles in school. I don't like trends. I just like to do like a thing that can work for everyone. And because I know that trends can make you like not maybe disappointed or mess it up with your life because you want to be on that point.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I've always thought about it. You know how sometimes you have aesthetics that come into trend, right? And, like I remember there was a time when tube tops were like a big thing, right? It was huge and everybody was like full on into like tube tops. And for me, to be honest, I never like liked tube tops on my body. Like it never worked for me. I know that people would disagree because, I love myself. It's not that I don't love myself, but I also like pick what's best for me. And I felt like tube tops weren't my thing. And that is exactly what we need to understand about trends as well. Not everything works for us. And we need to find what works for us, even with relationships. We're not looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. We're looking for a partner for ourselves. And that is very rare, to be honest. I don't think like easily you can find people who understand that, especially from the younger generation, Andrea. Are your friends like that? Are they like you? Do they have the same mindset, or do they think differently?
I think that all of my friends thinks like different. Like I can think different from my bestie, or my bestie can think different about my brother and all that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
to be honest, for relationship, I think it's quite hard to find one. Because it's not something easy to find someone that have the same vibes that take care of you, and
Yeah.
don't try to uh, take things as you said like before steal your heart.
See, that's the thing. Like, you don't even want to risk it anymore because you're like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this toxic lifestyle. I'm done with people doing these things to me. Like, I think we need to reconstruct, like, we need to teach society again to respect people, to respect feelings, respect the time and energy they're putting into you. And that is really hard with this whole instant life. Everyone wants it, very short lived, like something that is there just for a few seconds and then few minutes and we're actually done with it. And that is exactly where this whole hookup culture comes from. And again, what do you think about that?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Friends, I like culture. I like if it's something like the one that teaches how to love us, love yourself. Because I
Yeah.
think that things that could really help us. I know that it's really important to have trends to make like a bit uh, spicy the life. We have another taste, but
Yeah.
if that can't help people, I know that as you said, not everything works for everyone.
Yeah.
So try to figure out what can work for us.
Exactly. I think like we have to be able to take some time for ourselves and understand ourselves and learn about ourselves, which we will continue to talk about. Andrea, let's continue to talk about how we have taken the time to figure ourselves out and what's best for us right after this break. This is Salah and
Andrea.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of my that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Hopefully,
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It'll make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's They're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends, and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
We're back on the social roundup with Salah and
Andrea.
so Andrea. We're actually coming to the end of today's session with you and me, but I think like we can end on a really good note because we have really spoken about how as students we've had our experiences during lockdown and what we can do. And actually let's kind of conclude, let's kind of see what we can do to make this experience easier on all of us. What do you think, Andrea, needs to be done at this point?
I think that we talk about really good things, and we always, as we say in the radio, we try to give you the positive side of everything. That's why the radio is called it Relax. And
Yeah.
I think that something that can help us with the relationships and all that we talk it, it's to take a rest at some point and don't get overwhelmed with everything.
Exactly. I think like we need to start learning to take things light on ourselves and not be so harsh on ourselves. And, take a break when we need to take the break and just take a breather when we have to take that breather and just, calm down and relax. And while you are relaxing, just tune in with us and listen to us because we're here. We're going to be discussing things that you like and things that you want us to be discussing. Tell us what you want to hear about because Andrea and I will be joining you from 9 to 12 and we was 10 to 12, sorry, excuse me, 10 to 12, and we will be discussing the topics that you want us to be discussing, right, Andrea?
Of course, I would like to hear some different opinions of what people would like to maybe hear us to talk about because we have different points, and that's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think like having them engage with us will also give new perspectives because we have two perspectives here, but we would love to hear what you think about what we're talking here. And on that note, Andrea, like I think ultimately what we need to understand is, during lockdown, all of us have been having our own experiences with it, and to figure out how it works for us, what we need to do is sort of zone out from everything else, like leave social media, leave mass media, leave all these things that are posted on online telling us this is what life should be like during lockdown, and take time to ourselves and take that break and figure ourselves out before we actually step out. Do you agree with that?
Of course, I agree because I think that that's very important what you said.
Exactly. And I think like, maybe like looking for inspiration online, looking for inspiration with people who actually have a similar lifestyle, who promote similar things that you agree with would also help you to, sort of figure things what works best for you because people are experimenting, people are out there experimenting, and the best for you to do is see that and learn for yourself as well, right? So with that, Andrea, we're coming to an end, and we would like to keep reminding you to stay with us
And stay tuned because I really loved this conversation today. So thank you so much, everyone that listened, and thank you so much for you, Salah, to have this amazing conversation.
thank you, Andrea. Like, I'm so excited about you teaching me Spanish. I'm excited about sharing that with
And
everyone
send me the
here
link.
and the love languages. So, we will be talking about that. We will help you figure what works for you best. And we're here to always talk to you, converse with you. And this is Salah, and
Andrea.
on Relax Radio, the social roundup. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.
Have
Bye
a good day.
bye.
Bye bye.